Hello, my name is Heidi Maria, and you are now listening to my podcast, Love, Joy, and Heartset. I'm so grateful that you are listening to my podcast. I'm grateful for all the wonderful people that I meet and that I get to know when I'm interviewing them. I have got the amazing experience to interview people from all over the world about spirituality, about love, and their mission in life. Today, I am so happy to have my guest of the day. So enjoy. I'm so happy to have with me Dominique D, vita. Can you please tell me a little bit about yourself and who are you and what is your mission and your passion in this world?
Yes, hello. Thanks so much for having me here. Hello, everyone. I've been a nurse for decades. I began being a nurse at the age of 19 and have been a nurse for over 30 years. But when I was 44, I had an experience where I had what you would call a Kundalini awakening with my chakras with a tantric lover. And I did not even know that he had studied Tantra whenever I was with him. And so that moment in my life shifted everything in my life, my whole life path, and was deeply healing for me. And I was always fascinated with the heart and with, the I assisted with open heart surgeries. And when I first became a nurse, I worked the heart cath lab and coronary care unit. And it's always fascinated me. And when I had this experience, I realized that opening my heart chakra and my heart space, that Tantra is the true tools to open up your heart, not the open heart surgery stuff. So I began to realize, also pleasure is medicine. So I became really passionate about reaching people at an earlier point in their life path instead of when they have a lot of disease and illness in their bodies and they're in the hospitals, and help guide them on how they can live in their fullest expression, experience a lot of pleasure, let go of shame, and just have the sexual healing Marvin Gaye would sing about. And then hopefully whenever they can avoid being in the hospital with an illness, because all these traumas we experience in our lives create disease in our bodies, help them optimize their health with what I know about how the body works. And when they do take their last breath, not to be filled with the regrets, like I would see some of my patients, when I would give them compassion in those moments. So that's what I'm really passionate about, is just encouraging people to shine their light and open their hearts and just create more love in this world and connection. So I'm really happy to have this conversation with you today.
Wow, that is really amazing. And that you have had the opportunity to be a nurse and see the heart in that kind of way. And then you start to do the Tantra and really open the heart, really open the heart. So I found Tantra it's 5 years ago. And so 4 years ago, I started to go to Tantra, and it is like a course that you have Tantra every week, and every week, and for 3 hours every week. So you are getting a lot of the tantric and the yoga tradition, and I love it. I really love it.
Me too.
And it is so fascinating how, when you are starting to see the energy rising in your body. Can you talk a little bit about the experience that you had when you felt the Kundalini rise when you were with your lover? How did it feel? And can you talk a little bit about what it is, Kundalini?
Yeah, it's, Kundalini energy, it's stored, and it's usually lies dormant based on how we usually live in our modern world, and we're so disconnected, at the base of our spine near the root chakra. And with these experience of being able to have prolonged states of pleasure and breathing deeply through that pleasure, I was able to get that activated, and my lever was able to last and have stamina for hours, so that it gave me the space to really allow that energy to fully flow up through my body. And I even noticed when I was watching him, I did not know he'd studied Tantra, but I'm very intuitive. I'm born on Halloween. And I knew when I had been with lovers in the past that I would have to pull the reins in on my pleasure. And I hadn't really thought about it. I was just doing it without even thinking about how that was limiting me. I was just like, I was thinking I'm pulling back on my pleasure so that my partner can last longer, and that will be great for both of us. And this way I can experience more pleasure. I was not aware that actually me holding back and pulling in the reins of my pleasure was also like the glass ceiling of where I was able to let my pleasure go. I had no idea that I could experience these levels of pleasure for such a long time. And when I was looking at my lover's body, I could tell that every time I was having an orgasm, he was just unshakable, because he had mastered the art of non-ejaculatory orgasms, which is now what I teach my male clients. And he was just really present and like honoring me as the goddess and the divine. And he was so present. He's also teaches meditation, and meditation helps so much with lovemaking and life. And he was so fully present and deeply connected. And I was like, wow, what I'm doing is not throwing him off. I'm not pushing him to that point. So I get to really play with allowing my pleasure to continue to build and see how high this pleasure can go. And then continue to have like orgasm after orgasm that continue to build and build and build, and me not have to have a worry, or me not have to limit myself, and have this limitless pleasure in my body. Just allowed the channel for the Kundalini energy to shoot up, and my crown chakra opened, my third eye chakra opened, and it just felt like these waves of pleasure and energy just like flowing up through me. And having those prolonged states of ecstatic bliss and having no other substances in our bodies was so amazing. And some people will say like 5 hours. Who wants to have? Some of my friends are like, I don't want to be with a dude for 5 hours. They should hurry and finish. And that's because a lot of men, unfortunately, are their lovemaking is what they've seen by watching adult videos. And that's really not what women crave. So if they're just being disconnected and they're doing that jackhammer move, or the going really fast and thrusting, or not being really gentle and slow with us, and it can actually create all that friction too, can create discomfort. We can be sore the next day. Like I was with this person for 5 hours. I didn't have any soreness, and he was so present, and it felt as if time stood still. It felt as if, maybe an hour max went by. And then I was shocked that when I looked at the time again, when we finished, that it had 5 hours had passed. It was just like we were in this space together that transcended time. It was really beautiful. So I realized and at the time I was an expert on sex, and I was a recurring guest on Playboy Radio and sharing sex tips and having better sex than 99% of the people that I knew. So I really thought I had it all figured out. I was like, oh my gosh, my friends are like, you should write a book, etc. And then I realized, wow, I had only scratched the surface, like the tip of the iceberg of what was fully possible for me to experience in my body. And then it broke my heart, because I realized so many women will never experience this, and so many men will never know the power that they really have to awaken a woman to their fullest expression through prolonged states of ecstatic bliss.
Yeah. I really, really know what you are talking about. And many people, also me, I had pelvis pain after birth, and and I didn't know then that it was because of a trauma in that area.
Mm-hmm.
And the trauma that I had made me have more traumas in my adult life because of the trauma that happens when I was a little child. And then my energy, my sexual energy was blocked. And for me, many years, I didn't have energy at all. But when I started to do Tantra and understand Tantra and get a tantric lover, then it is amazing. And that is something that you have talked, you put a quote, I think, on Instagram, that you said that I want only to be with tantric lovers. And I was like, yeah, me too. Because it's so different.
It's radically different. And I've had many, many lovers, and I've had a few lovers that had a little bit of the Tantra thing, like they were naturally Tantra and they were tapping into parts of it, but maybe they weren't fully present in other ways, or they hadn't, really mastered all aspects of it, not to shame them. So I had a few lovers that I would have like these really amazing, energetic, kind of lovemaking experiences. And I've only had 2 lovers that have fully mastered this part of themselves with this awareness, where they really cultivated and looked at this. And then after experiencing that, it's kind of like if you want to go to the drive-through and have a fast food, like fast sex,
Yeah.
and it doesn't fully nourish you. And then afterwards, you're kind of feeling blah, and it's not really charging you up in the way that tantric lovemaking can be. Or do you want to go and have like a luxurious meal that's so nourishing to your soul, nourishing to all of your cells, and you have, all these delights, and it activates all of your senses, all of your 5 senses, and everything about it, like the way it smells, the way it looks, the way it tastes, the touch, like the textures, like everything is so activating in such a pleasure-filled way. You're not really going to want to go to McDonald's, because you're going to see like how that some parts of that can be toxic. Some of it can be unhealthy. And what are we consuming and allowing into our sacred space and into our bodies?
So true. So true. And when you start to know more, then you know also what you like and what you don't like, and how you can use your energy in the right way.
Yeah, you learn this mastery. With great wisdom comes great responsibility. So then you're more self-aware. I'm like, okay, does this serve me? Was I choosing some partners because my ego needed to be validated, because I was really good at sex and I love to be told that I was really good, because I didn't get that love and attention from my parents the way that I needed. And so there's like this other way that we want to connect to people, because there's intimacy. That's like such a deep connection, but just not realizing what my intention was with that connection, and should I be connecting with them. And when I started resourcing my own, opening my heart chakra, which Pink Tantra focuses on your heart chakra and self-love, then my self-love game was so strong that I realized I didn't need anything outside of me anymore. So then I was more intentional and just more aware of who I allowed inside, because I also learned I can't put a body condom on someone and protect myself from their bad vibes. If they're having a lot of traumas and going through a lot of emotional pain, or they're not self-aware and they're just wearing a mask and pretending like everything looks okay, but deep down they're really having some kind of suffering, I'm not really wanting to take that into my most intimate spaces, because I could feel thrown off the next day. So just being really aware. And I also want to reflect back to your vulnerable share about your experience as a child and how traumatic that was. And just to know it's so common that when someone has experienced a trauma like that, that you don't feel comfortable with your sexual energy because it doesn't feel safe, or you can start to have shame about it or blame ourselves, you know, like for things that happen. And so then you disconnect from it and we repress it. So I think it's so beautiful that you were able to, you know, have this experience with a tantric lover and experience that healing and have a different experience with your sexual energy and connect back to the power that you have with that. And for me, beginning to heal from other childhood wounds from trauma with alcoholic mother and some challenges with my father is, you know, I didn't learn this till recently, but the 3 tenets of Tantra, I have known this, are breath, sound, and movement.
Yeah.
Well, a little over a year ago, I completed, or approaching a year, I completed my trauma-informed master coaching with Elementum. And in the modules on learning more about trauma, it says the 3 things that support healing trauma are breath, sound, and movement.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's how I started my healing journey with Tantra, because I'm from an older generation, and there's this thing where we would frown upon someone needing therapy. Now it's like, I would hope my friends and my lovers are in therapy because it helps us to heal, because over 95% of adults received inadequate parenting. So let's face off with some of that so we can have better relationships, first with ourselves and others. And so I wasn't wanting the traditional therapy stuff. And so I would act like everything was okay. But I was getting therapy through the breath, sound, and movement with my tantric experiences that started my healing journey. And then I started being more receptive to therapy and realizing I needed that because, you know, there used to be some really weird thoughts, and, you know, you don't want anyone to label you as crazy, right? So we would just always pretend back in the day, like everything's okay, nothing to see here, you know, and just try to pretend that, put on the facade, wear the mask that I'm fine, which fine is feelings inside not expressed.
Yeah. And what you are saying about traumas, that when you discover or you have traumas in the childhood, like you and me, then you can press it down in your body, like really. And when you get pregnant, then it gets a lot of hormones. So because the feelings, emotions were there, then it started to make pain in the body. And I started my journey earlier than 5 years ago, with understanding that body, mind, and soul is together and complete each other. But I didn't know about the trauma that has happened because it was so shut down inside of me, in my body. So 2 years ago, I had a miscarriage, and then I started to get like flashbacks. Has this happened to me? And then I thought, oh, and I read the book Happy Days with Gabrielle Bernstein, and then I was, wow, what she's talking about here, I have experienced. And then it started to get more flashbacks. So I contacted a therapist and started to talk through it. And then I got the pieces together, because the body knows everything. And that is also something that happens when you are doing Tantra and you are starting to do the movement with your body through yoga or breath work or meditation. Then the stuff that is in you is coming up, and
Yes.
you have to see and look at it.
Yes. Thank you for sharing that and sending you so much compassion on that loss that you had. And thank you for sharing that, and then sharing like how the gifts that you got of awareness even through that hard time. Like sometimes we don't realize when we're going through a hard time that maybe there's also lessons or things that it's trying to show us.
Yeah,
Like something else was birthed through you through that experience. Yeah.
it it truly did. And the thing that got through me, it was about helping other women that has been through the same thing that me.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you for the work you're doing in the world. It's super important because we can hold a lot in our wombs, and a lot. I've even gone before for a pelvic exam, and I'd gone to the doctor several times, and I had to have I think like a cervical biopsy, but it was so surprising to me. And I worked at the USC as a nurse there, and I would always try to keep my sadness or my emotions pulled back on that. I didn't like to
Mm.
express sadness a lot because my mother had suicidal depression. So I didn't
Oh,
want to be an alcoholic like her. So I don't drink. I didn't want to be sad like her. So I would just, without being consciously aware, I would just shut that part of myself away. And whenever she did I think it was just a regular pap smear, when she swabbed me, I just started crying.
yeah.
And I was like, oh, and it surprised me, but it's like so much can be stored in a cellular level. But
Yeah.
I had also been in a relationship where the person that I had been dating for a few years, we were, breaking up, and it was right before my awakening, and we were coming apart, but there was a lot of traumas from his childhood. Like we had trauma bonded in a way.
Yeah.
And so then all that trauma is like being, and there was a lot of tenderness and sadness of how that relationship was going. And it's almost like that was touched in on through that examination. It was like really profound. I was like, wow, I'm really stressed with this person and going through it, navigating a lot. And then
Mm.
that, yeah. So it's really interesting. You know how
Yeah.
the book, The Body Keeps the Score, which I know there's some controversy about the author with that book, but there also are a lot of wisdom in that book as
Yeah.
well. So
I haven't read through the whole book yet,
I
but
haven't either. It's quite a bit
yeah,
to digest.
because it is heavy in the beginning.
Yeah, it's a
So,
lot.
but it's a great book, and it's so true that like the body speaks, and when you listen to your body and you're really listening. I remember a healer told me many years ago that you are going to understand uh, how much your body speaks in some years. And I was like, okay. And she said also that you're going to cry, you're going to scream, you're going to uh, like be really mad and angry at yourself and others, and then you have to let yourself be that way.
Yes.
And I was like, okay. But the last 3 years in the pandemic also, I have been screaming, I have been shouting, I have been like getting every emotion out of my body with all the things that has happened in my life and all the traumas. And yoga and tantra has made a way for me.
Yes, I love that. Thank you for sharing that. When we try to push back those emotions, like repression and suppression lead to depression. The antidote of that is expression. So expressing your emotions out yelling, doing a primal yell. One thing that I guide my clients on that I learned from Elementum Coaching, and Christine Hassler shared a lot of writing prompts for emotional release writing, because we have these emotions and we keep them trapped inside of our bodies instead of having a way to really release them and let them out of our bodies. And our bodies are just this tool. And also with expression, sexual expression is really big too, like really owning our sexual power, not just for something to give away to someone else, but for our own satisfaction. Because again, we are our longest lasting relationship, from our first breath to our last breath. So if anyone deserves to enjoy our bodies, it's us.
Yeah.
And that helps us be better lovers. And I just want to add too, a lot of people think you need a lover to begin Tantra, but you don't. It just starts with you and the relationship you have with you. And once we improve upon this relationship, relationships are just mirroring back. We're just a mirror for the other. And they're reflecting to us often the relationship we have ourselves. So when we show up differently in the world, and it's not to say if you don't have self-love that you have to be perfect and complete to have relationship, but the quality of the relationship that you're wanting and that you're going to have come into your reality is going to be based on the quality of the relationship you're having with yourself. So as I have grown and evolved and started to heal versions of myself, I keep getting better dating partners and options of people that are more self-aware. And so that's been really helpful. But again, emotional release writing, going to an anger release room or a smash room, like letting that out, because we're like this pressure cooker, like a kettle. And if we don't let that steam off, it will explode when we don't want it to.
No.
And we have to release. A book that I use a lot is called The Secret Language of Your Body. And it's written by a chiropractor in a Segal. And a lot of this, what's happening is these symptoms in our body are actually trying to communicate to us in different areas of our bodies. If we're having certain challenges with emotions, it will present as a symptom or an ache or a pain in certain parts of our bodies. And it can be linked to a certain, is it more of a mother figure or father figure? Like a lot, I help men with ED. A lot of times men with ED, it says in this book that there's a challenge with the mother, because a lot of us had emotionally unavailable mothers. Mothers that were checked out. Sometimes I think mothers in past generations were checked out because they had to be married and they didn't feel the equality in the marriage, or they didn't know how to survive without the marriage. And so whatever their gifts, their passions, their creative interests, they had to just be the good housewife to the husband and just be a good mom, and they would lose who they were in that. And I think disconnecting from your own sense of your purpose and your passion has you disconnect and check out from the others around you, and you go through the motions of like, I'm taking the kids to school, I'm making dinner, XYZ, I'm doing a good job. But when we don't show up for ourselves, we're not able to show up for others, and then they can feel that disconnection. And so then it impacts when we have future relationships, how we choose, how we engage based on our mother-father wounds. And that's a lot of root chakra work as well.
Yeah. And what I have experienced is that when you are so focused, like you said, on the other people, like children and being married and being the perfect wife and being the perfect mom and being the perfect, and you are not taking care of yourself, then you start to disappear. And when I started to understand how important it is to have a real connection, in team connection with myself and with my breath, because like they just were there. But when I understand that this is the portal to your heart, and then I understand, oh, that is why my heart has been it has been open, but it has been closed because it hasn't been like wide open. So, and so that's, for me, it is really important to really connect with yourself and also to understand how it is to be a woman. You were talking a little bit about the nerve system and to how to regulate the nerve system. Can you tell a little bit about that?
Regulating the nervous system, a lot of it is, again, with your breath, sound, and movement. So taking nice, long, slow, deep belly breaths, and an exaggerated inhale to where your belly rounds out like a balloon.
Yeah.
And then that helps stretch the vagus nerve. And then when you sigh with sound, because sound is like a thief and it steals the tension in your body. So when you exhale, just go, and let it all out.
Yeah.
And that is really supportive of your nervous system. Another practice in Tantra is called the Shiva shake, and Shiva represents divine masculine. And what you do is just get up and you just shake your whole body. You just shake your head, your shoulders, your hands, your arms, your booty, shake your legs, lift a leg up and shake your foot out. And you're literally shaking the stress from your body. And if you notice animals in the wild, like if a gazelle is about to be attacked by a cheetah and it narrowly escapes death, when it runs off, you'll see it shake its body because it's really shaking off the fear and the stress of that moment so it can continue to move on. But in our modern world, every time we have a stressful moment or we face fear during the day, if we just walked around shaking our bodies to discharge it, people will be like, what is wrong with that person?
Yeah.
So we just hold it all in and then we just forget about it and let it go. And so all of those emotions and that fear are just continuing to stack on itself and recirculate in our bodies. We don't know how to like safely discharge it.
Yeah.
So even just doing this Shiva shake is really powerful. Whenever you have something stressful, just take a few moments and literally shake it out. Or even if you're in your car and you have like almost have a fender bender or something.
Yeah.
You can just shake one of your hands for a moment and just discharge some of that energy. Or even now, like as we're talking, I have my hand kind of shaking down to my side. So you could be in a meeting and be stressed and just like give yourself a shake. And that's also why I think a lot of people will tap their feet or do different things like this. They're twitching because there's a lot of like this nervous energy inside of them that wants to come out. So just give it a safe space to be released.
Yeah. That's so true. And that is something that I'm teaching 8 women now about
Beautiful.
how to strengthen the nerve system. And the first thing is how to relax it and just breathe. And then how to use the movement, like bend your toes and bend your ankle, and then you start to see that the stress leaves the body.
Yes.
And now this is a course that I have now, and now they are at day 8, and they are like, wow, it has happened so much. And when we know that it is so easy, but why haven't we been teaching it at school? Like when we were, like, you have to shake.
Yes, shake your body.
Yeah.
Do a little bit of twerking.
Yeah.
Shake
really.
your root chakra.
Yeah. Really, really good.
And dance is so good. Like we both have a coach, Preston Smiles, and one of the practices he talks about is dance yourself clean. So just put on some music that helps you express or release, like if you're feeling really sad or angry or stressed, some music and just like let it out of your system, and don't, it's the saying of dance like no one's watching, and like without even watching yourself, like closing your eyes, and just how does that, those feelings, how does that want to move through your body to be released, and allow your body just to do its thing, and just spend a few minutes just dancing it out and clearing your container, like almost like an etch-a-sketch, you know, you're just etch-a-sketch too, you have to shake it, right? So it's like, oh, oops, shake, 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 and then you're starting new, you're like a little mini reset button.
Yeah, and that is so powerful to dance in the morning. I did it for like 22 days because I was challenged. I was doing a tapas, and I was like thinking that I'm going to do it every day. So I did it every day. But after that, after the 22 days, then I suddenly stopped. And that is so stupid because it was so good.
Yeah. You can always return to it.
Yeah, that's true. It's so true. Dominique, what is the 5 life lessons that you have learned along your life that you want to share with us today?
Well, thanks for asking. And on, speaking of 5, on Halloween this year, I'll be 55. So
wow.
5 on my 55 year. Let me think about this. My first thing is, you know, that helped me a lot. I used to have a lot of anger issues. And what really helped me too is just to be aware that people's behavior is a reflection on them, and my response to their behavior is a reflection on me.
Yeah.
And, you know, my ability to respond is my responsibility. So the warrior in me, the protector, when I would see someone do something wrong, I would just like want to take such a stand or point out what other people are doing wrong. But, you know, also noticing like when someone is doing something, even having an awareness and be like, how do I also do this? Like, why is this activating me? Because it's usually showing us also there's other ways in life that you do this too.
Yeah.
And having more compassion for other people, and just watching how I respond. If it's not a life and death thing, just allow things to flow, and just, I'm just responsible for my side of the street. So that helped me the most. That was a really big thing. The other thing is, I wish that I would have been a lot slower with my relationships. I had my first daughter when I was 18. I literally graduated high school pregnant with the first person I had ever been with, and we had dated since I was 15. And I can see in hindsight why those choices, why those things happen. But I think there was a lot of the way I would approach dating when I was younger and for the first few decades of my life, of needing validation, of just looking, my mother would just be like, oh, is the guy hot? Like, she did not give me good insight onto the qualities of a person. Like, what is their heart like? How do they treat other people? It was all very superficial and shallow. And so I could even see how my choices, even in recent years, was still, there's some narrative in my subconscious I wasn't aware of like, just they need to be really hot. And I dated a lot of hot guys, but sometimes they weren't the best choices for me because I wasn't looking deeper into like the inner beauty. Like, what do they look like on the inside? You can't put a filter on like what someone's energy is. So if I would have just looked at some different things instead of the more shallow aspects, I could have saved myself a lot of painful experiences. Because I wasn't always choosing the people that were the most suited. And in dating in the past, it's been from Disney movies of wanting to be chosen or picked. And instead of being really clear as I first meet someone, what I really am available or not available for, like if we would just say, I want kids or I don't want kids, or this is I plan on getting married or I don't want to, but we will think, oh, I like these things about this person. Maybe when they fall in love with me, they're going to want what I want. And so we start investing a lot of time and for being sexually active, then the love, the oxytocin, those hormones are being released, and we're bonding to people that aren't worthy of us bonding, aren't serving us to bond with. And then we don't see, when those feel good chemicals are released, we don't notice the red flags that are there. All of a sudden they're orange, and then we make excuses. So that, and also don't date for someone's potential.
Yeah.
And I think also being a nurse or always wanting to help and see the best in people, you know, I need to be like, who are you? Yes, we all have a great potential, but do you act on it? Are you taking actions towards that? Or are you just like wishing about it and it's just a fantasy? Are you going to make that a reality? And if it's not your reality, then I'm not going to make choices with you based on what the possibility could be. Like, where are you in this present moment? Because I don't need to, I think the codependent patterns from an alcoholic mother of me caretaking, or me needing to feel needed to feel safe.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of that. So how I approach dating would be definitely different to my younger self.
Yeah.
How I approach challenges in life and respond instead of reacting and not wasting my energy. I know a third thing is, people are either a faucet or a drain energetically. So choose wisely. And take the time to stop pretending and to really focus on what your wounds and your traumas are. Because often this saying, the cave we fear to enter is the one where the most treasure is.
Yeah.
And we can be so afraid to go there. And I'm not saying it's easy, but it's so worth it. And the treasure that you will find and explore and discover will make the rest of your life so much better. And I delayed my tantric journey by a decade, thinking I needed to have a lover to begin. I had been interested a decade before. And I've had such radical shifts in growth. It's been a decade now since my first experience with Tantra. And when I know everything is on divine timing, but at the same time, I'm like, wow, I could have saved myself a lot of heartache and pain if I would have gotten on this path sooner. So when we delay something that is almost a calling, like we feel the call for it, and then we dismiss it and we're like, oh, I'll just do that later. Like, really pay attention to what you're interested in and what's speaking to you, because my life could have gotten a lot better, and I could have minimized the traumas that my daughters experienced with me from me being stuck in some unhealthy patterns that I picked up from my childhood. And now I'm working to improve those relationships, and I've had a lot of healing with my daughters. We're in a different place now, but it's still a lot more to undo. And with that, I will say, be more present with people, because I would be, again, needing so much validation. I would be at dinner with them, or I think I'm going and doing things with them, but then I would be always checking my phone and not be fully present. Like, your presence is a gift, and you don't get that time back.
That's so true. That's so true.
Yeah. I think there's 5 within that, because I've expanded on it. That's a lot. Those are my main things.
They are so beautiful, and
thank you.
And, so
and love
true.
yourself, self-love.
Yeah.
All day. Like, that's the key.
Yeah. And they are so beautiful, and what you say about pay attention in what the universe is giving you. And when I was 15 years old, I read magazine about Tantra, and I was putting it in a folder. So because I was interested in it, it was about chakras and energy, but like, I was thinking for myself that when I got older, that was something that was too difficult for me to do, because I was like I was thinking myself down. And But when you said that, it was like, that was something I get like something when I was 15, and now I'm 45, and like, so it has always been there.
Yes, yes, I love that.
So
Yeah,
that,
a decade ago, I bought a book, and then if I would have opened the book and looked at it, I would have seen there were solo practices, but I assumed that I needed a lover. And so I thought,
yeah,
okay, when I have a lover that's interested in this, then
yeah,
I'll do this.
yeah,
Right. And so I put it back on the shelf and kept it with me, even when I finally did meet that lover. But I was like, wow, I could have started having this experience sooner,
yeah,
because the interests, the nudges from the universe, like those little interests or hits that we have, and we can dismiss it as like, oh, that's so silly, or I really can't do that. Like, it's coming into our field, it's coming into our awareness for a reason.
yeah. It is, and that is so powerful. Dominique, what are you working on now, and how can people find you?
um, I have currently launched a men's group program. I have been coaching men and women, couples and singles, for about 6 years now. And I really, and I haven't had group programs for women, but I recently launched a group program for men. And it's really been so humbling and such an honor to guide them, because men have had a lot of challenges too. The patriarchy hasn't just been unfair to women.
Mm,
It's really been disempowering to men too. And they have a lot of pressure. They don't feel like they can express emotions. They always have to be the provider, the strong one. Like, who supports the strong one?
yeah,
And then when they stumble or they have emotions, it can make women uncomfortable, and they can get shamed about it. So there's a lot of challenges. And when I work with men too, it's still in support of the feminine, because
yeah,
if the men don't understand these things and they don't get the tools to empower themselves and to get the healing they need, then that impacts all of our relationships too. And I'm so thankful and grateful, because a man that actually learned these things is how I began having my awakening. So
yeah.
just even giving back to the masculine, because I'm so
Oh,
grateful for that experience. So there's been some real magic that's been happening within that. And so I'm like, okay, yeah, I definitely want to continue to have men's groups. I love my women's group too. It's a different thing. It's more about manifesting with your orgasmic energy
yeah,
and things like that, and having better orgasms, which is really powerful. So, and then I do one-to-one sessions. So you can find me at yestantra.com. And then my YouTube channel is just Yes Tantra. And I do have an Instagram, but they do limit what I can share. So I'm going to start sharing more on my blog at yestantra.com. So stay tuned for that, because I won't be censored there, and my content won't be removed or shut down, because it'll be my space. So
yeah.
to openly share. So those are the places that I can be found.
Do you have some? It was so lovely what you said about you. A man open you up, and you want to give back to the masculine. It it was, that's so, so good and so important, because we need also to educate men.
Yes. They deserve it. It's so
Yeah,
freeing for them. Yeah.
yeah. Uh, do you have any last words that you want to share with the audience today? Um,
Just know that you're so worthy of the life and the love that you want to experience. And a lot of times in our society, we're taught that to have the trappings of success, and that we'll be happy when we have the job, the house, the family, the car. And so we go for all those things, the degree, and we really focus on that. Then when we get those things and we realize we're still not fulfilled.
mm,
And so we hope that our inner happiness will come from these things. And even Jim Carrey says, I wish everyone could have $1 million so they could realize that the $1 million is not going to bring them happiness.
Yeah.
And our inner world, when we start to change our inner world here, then the outer world starts to shift and reflects that. So our outer world is just a reflection of what's going on in our inner world. So instead of focusing on getting all these outside objects, we want it to feel different on the inside. If we first focus on feeling different from the inside, then everything around us will shift and change and be responding to us from this different vibration and the energy that we're emitting, our frequency, from creating these changes. So
thank you. Thank you so much for all your wisdom and all your knowledge, and to find time to be on this podcast today. So thank you so much. It has been a pleasure.
yeah, you're welcome. And thank you so much for the invitation. And thank you everyone here for sharing your time with us and being here. And if you have any questions or anything, feel free to reach out to me. And again, thank Tiny for creating the time and the intention of having a heartfelt conversation with me today.
Thank you so much, or to all the listeners also. Thank you.